lift her up, show me the fish real quick. All right, send her on her way. Thank you folks for your patience. I know I'm a little behind schedule in putting up this fishing report. I wanted to wait and see what happened with the rains and see what's going on with that. First, let me get some of the annoying announcements out of the way. Once again, we're planning on doing our spay casting clinic on the end of August. So if you're interested, send us an email. We'll put you on a list. And then we start taking confirmed bookings. We'll email you and say, hey, the book's open, hop in. So if you're interested, get on our list so that we can let you know. Probably be sending that email out in June, July. But anyways, we're still planning on doing our spay casting clinic. Our books we got time available in our books from December on, so we're doing some winter bookings. We're also doing some spring steelhead bookings. So if you're interested in the spring deal, call us. We can talk about your options. Or send us an email with your contact or whatever. But we can start talking about what your options are for both winter and spring for steelhead fishing. Trying to think anything else. Oh yeah, please be patient with me. I'm still a little slow on answering emails and texts and getting back to your phone calls. I'm still on the water. As you're probably noticing now, we're doing another fishing report from the truck. Well, that weather I was waiting on is here. It is wet, and camera gear is expensive. So what I mean by wet is, yeah, my hat is soaked. It's drippy. So in that case, yeah, it's raining pretty good. I'm hoping the rain will continue, and we could get up to 2 to 3 inches, and I'm hoping we get close to that. We'll have to see with these hurricane rains that I think this is what this is, and a weather front rains. It could be a little sketchy what we end up with. But hopefully we'll get enough rain to bring the water flows up and get the fishing a reset, which is what's desperately needed. So I am on the brown trout waters of western New York, so I'll start there and talk about what's going on there, then move in. Rick and George are fishing the steelhead on the Salmon River. I'll do that next. So basically here with the brown trout gig, things are running true to form, week, maybe 2 weeks behind normal schedule, but we are getting small handfuls of browns coming in every day. There's a small to moderate amount of fish in everywhere. You have to hunt them down and fish to them. You know, right now it's a hunting game. You can go cover a lot of water. That's what we're doing. We're covering a lot of water. We're trying to look for fish, find fish, fish to those fish. Mostly what we're seeing is males, and we got that classic male brown trout want to just bite anything as long as it's each other type of behavior. You know, when you get just a bunch of male brown trout, all they want to do is bite each other. So what we've been doing is when we're locating these males, and they can be crabby, we'll get above them and we'll try buggers, zonkers, egg patterns, drift down into them, and just be persistent and see if we can get one to just kind of get tired of us and grab the fly. Works great. We get a fish. If it doesn't, we move on. Sometimes they disappear and leave us alone and we lose track of them. Other times we can stay with them and work them and get a good bite out of them. But it's a lot of hard work and a lot of it's a big coverage game. So that's pretty much what's going on, and we are using some buggers, some zonkers. Kind of a peach colored egg fly has been working really well, and the last couple of days I started seeing some hens showing up, so hopefully we'll get that more hens mixed in, get more spawning activity, get eggs dug up out of the salmon beds, out of the brown trout beds, and get a little egg drift and get a nice egg bite going. That usually solves everything, and then the fishing quality picks up. And if we get a good blast of water, things kind of get high and muddy, that's going to bring us in some brown trout. So that's what we're basically doing now. It's just egg flies, probably about 10s, 12s. Water's been really clear, so I've been fishing kind of 10s and 12s. I've been keeping my flies kind of small on what I normally like to, because we've had a lot of low clear water and light tippets. I'm fishing a lot of 6 pound for you guys that are trout fishermen. That's 4x, 3x, which is 8 pounds. So I'm doing 4 and 3x just because we do get into an odd very big fish once in a while, and I like to have a little bit of tippet there to try to land it. But that's been the game for the brown trout right now. Water temperatures have been pretty good, really good. However, next week we're going to be dealing with some cold water temperatures, so probably going to be better we're gonna have a better late morning, early afternoon bite going in next week, because we do, I think Monday or Tuesday or one of those days we got snow. So it's gonna be a cold week coming up, and our brown trout waters do cool down quick at night and warm up during the day. So with those big temperature swings, we could see probably mid-late morning to early afternoon or into afternoon some of our best fishing of the day. So that's pretty much what's going on the brown trout water. On the Salmon River, there again, water flows is still at 335. They've been stagnant. If this rain gives us enough to get a water release, be mindful that the lower part of the river is going to have a lot of trash. There's like a foot of leaves on the banks all the way down through. They're just water soaked. That water comes up. The trash that's going to be coming down the river is going to be incredible. And the upper river is full of dead, slimy salmon. So it's going to be a gooey mess for probably 6-8 hours while the whole mess flushes out once the water comes up. So if they turn the water on at night, think about fishing upriver in the morning, getting above that trash, then in the afternoon going downriver on the day they turn the water on. After about 24 hours, all that'll be cleaned out and you'll be good to go. A water increase will definitely help. There's been so much fishing pressure on those fish on the Salmon River, those steelhead have basically shut down. If you're in the upper part of the river, those fish have had so much boat traffic, so much fishing traffic, so many people wading through them, falling on top of them. Those fish are shut down to the point where they're really not moving too well, never mind biting. So that's been a real problem up there. I know Rick has struggled on a few floats. He says he's seen plenty of fish. It's just, he says they're just stalled out and they're trying to act like rocks. And he's been struggling to get a good bite out of them. So that's been a problem up there. And steelhead are notorious for shutting down when they get too much pressure on them. What I mean by shutting down is, yeah, they'll stop biting and they'll even stop running. But there's fair amount of steelhead in the upper river. They just need a break. Basically, we need a water pulse to kind of wake them up and shut them off. However, the last few days, to try to find some more grabby fish, some fish that are willing to play, both Rick and George have been down in the fishing the Douglas and Salmon Run. There they've been having some fairly decent success over the last few days. Seems to be more fish are trickling in at a little quicker pace down there. And they're basically doing the old rule, covering a lot of water, fishing through the pockets, hitting all the sweet spots, and just covering. They'll work their way up for a section, and then part of the day, then work their way back and re-hit all that water, because sometimes some of those waters will restock themselves. So they might get a fish or two in there on the way up, and on the way back you might find a fish or two in there. So they're covering a lot of water and fishing through that. Using a fair amount of stuff. Egg flies, small wet flies have been working too. Buggers have been working. Some small, neat-looking mini intruders have been getting a grab now and again. I think Rick said he got a nice brown trout down in the bottom end of the DSR. So there's been a nice mixed bag. A few browns, some steelhead. Both Rick been doing a little bit of swinging, having some success. George likes to drift a lot, and a lot of his small, hot, colorful stones have been working. Some of his little wet flies with a little bit of color like a hot bead have been working, and of course the egg patterns have been doing it. There has been a few salmon, but not a lot of salmon coming through. The upper river does have a nice jag of cohos up there. I don't know how they got by us, but there's surprisingly some nice quality cohos scattered about in the upper, like above Pineville and in the fly zone. Especially the fly zone seems to have them, and they are grabbing. But down in the DSR, it's mostly a steelhead gig, and they've been doing okay. And the last 3 days I've talked to them, they're sounding a little bit more positive. I don't think I have to send mental health up to counsel them. So they're doing a little bit better with the steelhead. And they are fishing a lot of lighter tippets, like 6-8 pound. A careful drift, so you got to be a little careful when you get a hot steelhead on 6 pound. They don't bust you off. But they've been having some reasonable success when they're swinging. They are swinging 8 and 10 pound. Are running a little bit lighter than we normally would for swinging. But the water down there, awesome. Remember, we're dealing with low water down there too. With that 335, maybe 400 at the Pineville gauge. So that was a low water condition. So I'm hoping that we'll get enough in this rain. They can bump the water up to at least 750, flush the trash out, get the fish going. It'd be nice if we could get a couple days at 1,200, but I don't think we're going to see that. I'd hope I'm wrong. But hopefully we'll get up there too. We'll get a blast of water, rejuvenate the fishing, and get all that going. So that's pretty much what's been going on. It all depends on just how much rain we get over the next couple of days. So this is classic. Conditions can and do change quickly, and we're seeing probably a big condition change, I'm hoping, for the positive. Until then, folks, see you on the river. The people that stopped and said hello to me, it was good seeing you. And see you on the river, folks. Good fishing, and don't forget to please hit the subscribe button, because we're actually editing some fishing videos. So we got some stuff coming that we shot earlier. So hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can catch it when we post those, and maybe a few more fishing reports. Good fishing. This is Jay at JPEG Guides and Lost River Fishing. We are a year-round fly fishing catch and release guide service. We fish the Lake Ontario tributaries, and then during the spring and the summer we also fish the inland trout streams, classic dry fly fishing. During the heat of the summer, we will do the warm water fishing for bass and pike. If you're interested in any of our outings or have any questions, please feel free to email us at fish@lostriversfishing.com. Hope to hear from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.